I know that in this very room and among those listening from afar, there are souls who are utterly exhausted from trying to be strong. There are cries that cannot be uttered, trapped within the confines of a weary heart. There are why questions whose only apparent answer is the deafening silence of heaven. Perhaps you're grappling with a profound sense of confusion, a deep-seated hurt that stems from what feels like an inexplicable downturn in life despite your faithfulness. You might feel abandoned, like God has stepped away from the battlefield of your life. Please know that your chaotic emotions are allowed to exist. Your pain is seen and your silent screams are heard even when they feel lost to the wind. But I want us to discover a liberating truth together. God does not demand a cheerful melody from us when our hearts are shattered. He offers us a divine hymnal, and within it we find the very notes of lament. The Psalms in particular are a sacred space where raw human emotion meets divine understanding. They give us the language to express even our darkest feelings, our anger, our confusion, our despair without fear of judgment. They validate our suffering and remind us that even the most poignant cries can be transformed into prayer. We will not shy away from the difficult emotions. Instead, we will learn how to turn our very sighs into a prayer, an authentic melody before God. This journey is not about finding quick fixes, but about finding a voice for our soul. It's about understanding that even when we feel rejected and shame, we can still pour out our hearts before the divine conductor. Psalm 44:9 declares, "But you have cast us off and put us to shame, and you do not go out with our armies." This raw, honest lament captures the profound disquiet of a soul that feels abandoned by God in the midst of battle. It's a foundational truth. God invites us into honest dialogue, even when we feel confused by his apparent absence. Consider the story of Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. Faced with immense loss and national division, he often felt God's absence keenly, expressing confusion over why such suffering was allowed. Yet, he continued to pray, pouring out his heart in honest lament, even when answers seemed elusive. This week, identify a specific feeling of confusion or hurt that disquiets your spirit. Find a way, perhaps through journaling or quiet prayer, to voice this feeling directly to God using the honesty of Psalm 44 as your guide. Now, as we've begun to find those initial notes to express our deepest disquiet, let us together explore how the Psalms also invite us to recall the triumphant movements of God's past faithfulness. When our present feels shrouded in doubt and defeat, it's crucial to intentionally remember the melodies of victory God has composed in history and in our own lives. This isn't about ignoring our current pain, but about anchoring our hope in a proven track record of divine intervention. It's like a seasoned musician in the midst of a challenging piece, recalling the glory of past performances to inspire confidence for the current movement. The psalmist, even in his lament, doesn't forget God's historical power. He turns to the foundational stories of their faith. Psalm 44:1-3 declares, "We have heard with our ears, O God. Our fathers have told us the deeds you did in their days, in days of old. For they did not gain possession of the land by their own sword, nor did their own arm save them. But it was your right hand, your arm, and the light of your countenance, because you favored them." This is a profound moment of recollection. They remember that it wasn't human strength or strategy that brought victory, but God's mighty hand, his powerful arm, and his divine favor. This is the truth. God has always been the source of true victory, and his character as a deliverer remains unchanged. Think of the greatest generation in America, who endured the Great Depression and then fought in World War II. They faced unprecedented hardship and global conflict. Yet, many drew strength from the stories of their ancestors, from the narratives of American resilience and divine blessing. They remembered how their nation had overcome past crises, often attributing those victories to God's guiding hand. This collective memory, often steeped in biblical principles, gave them the resolve to face overwhelming odds. Consider the story of a modern-day veteran suffering from PTSD who felt utterly defeated. He began to intentionally recall moments in his military career where he survived against all odds, where inexplicable provision or protection occurred. He attributed these victories to God, shifting his focus from his current trauma to God's past faithfulness. This act of remembering God's past deeds, even small ones, helped him rebuild his spiritual foundation. This week, create a God's victories list or journal. Write down at least 3 times in your life or in history when God clearly intervened or brought you through a seemingly impossible situation. Let these remembered melodies become a source of strength for your present. As we transition from the powerful melodies of past triumphs, we must honestly return to the present dissonance. For many of us, recalling past victories can sometimes make the current struggle feel even more bewildering. If God was so powerful, then we might ask, why does it feel like he's absent now? This movement gives voice to that agonizing question, allowing us to express the why of perceived abandonment without losing our connection to the divine. It's a raw, honest lament where our confusion becomes a powerful form of prayer. The psalmist doesn't shy away from this painful contrast. He cries out in Psalm 44:17, -19, all this has come upon us, yet we have not forgotten you, nor have we dealt falsely with your covenant. Our heart has not turned back, nor have our steps departed from your way, but you have severely broken us in the place of jackals and covered us with the shadow of death. This is a profound and unsettling lament. The psalmist asserts their faithfulness. They haven't forgotten God, haven't broken the covenant, haven't turned back. Yet despite their loyalty, they feel severely broken and covered with the shadow of death. This captures the agonizing dilemma of suffering when you believe you're doing everything right. It's the why me, when why not me seems illogical given their devotion. Think of Job in the Old Testament. He was a righteous man, yet he lost everything: his children, his wealth, his health. His friends accused him of secret sin, trying to rationalize his suffering. But Job, though he lamented bitterly and asked profound why questions of God, never turned his back on him. He acknowledged his pain, but he never denied God's existence or ultimate sovereignty. His journey, though filled with dark lament, ultimately led to deeper understanding and restoration. Consider a modern American family, devout and generous, who suddenly face a devastating illness or unexpected bankruptcy. They've lived faithfully, prayed diligently, yet inexplicable hardship strikes. The place of jackals might feel like the cold, sterile hospital room or the empty bank account. The shadow of death might be the cloud of despair. It's in these moments that we're allowed to question, to lament, to wrestle with God, as long as our grip on him remains firm. This week, allow yourself to ask your why questions directly to God. Write them down. Express your bewilderment and pain, but consciously hold on to the truth of his character, even if you don't understand his ways. Let your lament be an authentic conversation, not a turning away. From the depths of honest lament, where we've questioned God's apparent absence, we're now called to find a new resolute chord, unwavering affirmation. This isn't about having all the answers or about the pain suddenly disappearing. Instead, it's about choosing to stand firm in our faithfulness, to declare our allegiance to God even when circumstances scream otherwise and when human understanding fails. This movement transforms our lament into a defiant declaration of loyalty. The psalmist, having laid bare his bewilderment, now turns to a powerful act of self-examination and commitment. Psalm 44:20, -22 states, if we had forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to an alien God, would not God search this out? For he knows the secrets of the heart, yet for your sake we are killed all day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. This is a profound affirmation of integrity. The psalmist asserts that their suffering is not due to their unfaithfulness or idolatry. In fact, it's for your sake, a testament to their unwavering commitment to God, even in the face of death and humiliation. It highlights a core truth. True faithfulness is proven not when life is easy, but when it is hardest, when we affirm God's worthiness even as we suffer for his name. Think of the early American Christians who faced persecution, not for their crimes, but for their faith. Stories abound of individuals who, despite being ostracized, imprisoned, or even martyred, refused to deny Christ. Their steadfastness in the face of immense pressure was a powerful affirmation of their commitment to God. Consider a modern-day example. A CEO of a successful company, a person of deep faith, who makes an ethical stand based on Christian principles, knowing it will cost them their career and public reputation. They face public scorn, financial ruin, and the loss of their comfortable life. Yet, they refuse to stretch out their hands to an alien god, i.e., compromise their values for worldly gain. This person, in their suffering, becomes a testament to unwavering faith. They are counted as sheep for the slaughter in the corporate world, yet they hold firm to their integrity. This week, write down a personal affirmation of your faithfulness to God. This isn't about ignoring your pain, but about deciding, even in the midst of it, that your loyalty belongs to Him. Repeat it daily, letting it become a steadfast chord in your soul's symphony. Having affirmed unwavering faithfulness amidst the inexplicable, the final movement of Psalm 44 is a powerful, impassioned plea for divine intervention. It's the climax of the symphony where all the preceding notes of lament, remembrance, and affirmation converge into an urgent, desperate cry for God to act. This is the very essence of faith, crying out to God when all human avenues are exhausted, believing He will hear and respond out of His boundless compassion. The psalmist shifts from an internal affirmation to an external direct appeal to God. Psalm 44-23, -26, bursts forth with, "Awake, why do you sleep, O Lord? Arise. Do not cast us off forever. Why do you hide your face and forget our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust. Our body clings to the ground. Arise for our help and redeem us for your mercy's sake." This is incredibly raw and bold language. The psalmist dares to challenge God's apparent inaction, to question His seeming silence, to implore Him to remember their suffering. It's a desperate cry from a soul pushed to its limits, acknowledging deep weariness, bowed down to the dust, our body clings to the ground. But notice the ultimate appeal, redeem us for your mercy's sake. It's not based on their worthiness of faithfulness, but solely on God's character, His mercy, His compassion, His unfailing love. This is the truth. Even in our darkest moments of despair, we can boldly appeal to God's mercy, knowing His compassion is boundless. Consider the story of a family facing the imminent foreclosure of their home in the midst of the 2008 financial crisis. They had done everything right, prayed, worked hard, but circumstances beyond their control had brought them to their knees. The father, a devout man, described feeling like his soul was bowed down to the dust. He spent countless nights crying out, "Awake, Lord, don't forget our affliction." He wasn't demanding an outcome, but pleading for God's merciful intervention. And in an unexpected turn, a new program was announced, or a distant relative offered help, allowing them to save their home at the very last moment. This was God's redemption, not based on their perfect performance, but for His mercy's sake. This week, bring your most urgent, desperate plea to God. Don't hold back your raw emotions. Cry out to Him for your specific need, appealing directly to His mercy and compassion. Trust that He hears the earnest cry of a heart that clings to the ground, and that He will arise for your help. My dear friends, we have completed a profound journey through the powerful healing melody of Psalm 44. We began by harmonizing with the raw disquiet within us, giving voice to our confusion and hurt. We then found strength by recalling the triumphant melodies of God's past victories, grounding our hope in His proven faithfulness. We dared to vocalize our laments in the darkness, wrestling with the why of suffering, yet clinging to His character. From that place of honest struggle, we moved to an unwavering affirmation of our loyalty, even when faced with disgrace. And finally, we concluded with a passionate plea for God's compassion, crying out for His merciful intervention. This has been a symphony of the soul, a journey from silent suffering to vocal supplication, moving through the depths of human pain and emerging with a renewed cry for divine mercy. You have found your voice and you have found your conductor. So let us declare together from the depths of our renewed spirits, though my soul is cast down and my body clings to the ground, I will remember your deeds of old. Though I may question why, I will not forget you. Though I am afflicted and oppressed, I will not turn back from your covenant. Awake, O Lord, arise for my help, and redeem me for your mercy's sake. My hope is in you, my God. Now, I invite you, if your spirit is still disquieted, to simply rest in his presence. Allow the master conductor to reharmonize your soul. Lay down your burdens, your confusion, your pain, and receive his perfect peace. May the Lord, who does not slumber nor sleep, hear your plea and remember your affliction. May his right hand, his arm, and the light of his countenance bring you deliverance and favor. May his goodness and mercy pursue you, and may he redeem you for his mercy's sake. Go forth now in his profound peace and renewed strength,